Welcome. Today we go over the absolute worst medieval jobs in history. But wait, we have a horrifying bonus job at the end that's worse than all the others. Stick around to find out which gruesome occupation takes the crown. Sit back, relax, and let's dive in. First up on our list is a job that sounds more elegant than it actually was, the groom of the stool. The title might evoke images of a well-dressed attendant, but the reality was far less glamorous. This unfortunate individual had the privilege of attending to the king's personal needs. Yes, you heard it right. The groom of the stool was the royal toilet attendant tasked with the unsavory duty of assisting the monarch during his visits to the privy. Imagine being responsible for the king's personal hygiene, cleaning the royal posterior and ensuring his comfort during these most private moments. To make matters worse, the groom of the stool was also expected to engage in conversation with the king, making small talk while performing this delicate task. Talk about multitasking. Despite the distasteful nature of the job, it was considered a position of great trust and intimacy with the king. But let's be honest, it's definitely not a job for the faint-hearted. Don't go anywhere, the jobs get steadily worse as we go on. Next on our list are the tanners. A vital cog in the medieval economic wheel, tanners were responsible for turning raw animal hides into usable leather. Now, if you're picturing a rustic artisanal workshop, think again. The tanning process was a far cry from pleasant, involving soaking hides in a mixture of urine and feces to remove hair and soften the hide. This concoction, called bait, was a tanner's daily reality. The stink was a constant companion, permeating everything from their clothes to their very skin. Not to mention, the task was physically demanding, requiring the tanner to scrape, beat, and stretch the hide to achieve the desired texture and flexibility. If the smell didn't get to you, the grueling physical labor certainly would. The stench must have been unbearable, making it one of the worst olfactory experiences in history. If you think the smell would have been bad, just wait till you hear the next one. Some of them had to swim in it. But first, let's talk about the plague barriers. Imagine a world ravaged by a deadly disease, streets lined with lifeless bodies, a stench of decay hanging heavy in the air. This was the reality for plague barriers during the darkest days of the Black Death. Their role was essential yet horrifying, tasked with the grim responsibility of collecting and burying the countless victims of the plague. They faced death on a scale that is hard for us to comprehend today. The work was not only physically demanding, but the emotional toll must have been astronomical. Every day they risked their own lives, handling the deceased with the constant fear of becoming the next victim. The plague barriers were, in many ways, the unsung heroes of these dark times, their work crucial in preventing further spread of the disease. The fear of contracting the deadly disease was constant, making this job both gruesome and perilous. Up next is a job that's as dirty as it sounds, the gong farmer. This was a medieval occupation that was as crucial as it was unpleasant. Gong farmers, or night soil men, had the unenviable task of emptying and cleaning latrines and cesspits, the communal toilets of the time. Their job was essentially to remove human waste from the city streets and dispose of it safely outside the city limits. They were tasked with digging out and taking away all of the human waste in cesspits. Paid per ton, they spent all night in deep holes up to their waist or neck, swimming in human excrement. Some died of disease or suffocated. Despite the importance of their role, gong farmers were often looked down upon due to the nature of their work. They usually worked under the cover of darkness to avoid the scorn of their fellow citizens. Gong farmers played a vital role in maintaining public health, but the sheer unpleasantness of their work earns them a spot on our list. Now on to our final one, but don't forget to stick around to hear the bonus job at the end. Our penultimate entry is the fuller. A vital cog in the textile industry of the medieval era, the fuller's job was anything but simple or pleasant. Tasked with the responsibility of cleaning and thickening wool, fullers found themselves stomping on woolen cloth soaked in a heady mixture of water, urine, and sometimes even feces. It was an arduous process requiring strength and a stomach of steel. The aim was to remove oil and grime from the wool, making it suitable for production. But the process wasn't just unpleasant, it was potentially harmful too. The fullers were exposed to harsh chemicals from the urine and feces, which often led to skin conditions and diseases. It was a job that demanded a high level of physical endurance, and the ability to withstand a constant assault on the senses. Definitely not a job you'd apply for willingly. Now for our bonus job that takes the crown as the worst of them all, the whipping boy. This role, steeped in controversy and disbelief, was allegedly given to boys who were educated alongside princes or child kings. But why, you ask? Well, it was their duty to receive the punishments that were meant for their royal counterparts. Yes, you heard that right. A whipping boy would be beaten because a tutor could not lay a hand on a prince or monarch. It's an unimaginable task, isn't it? To endure the pain for someone else's misdeeds. Yet this horrifying job was somewhat sought after. The sons of noblemen were often selected for this role, as it allowed them to foster close relationships with royalty. But at what cost? The life of a whipping boy was one of constant fear and pain. Truly a nightmarish position in medieval times. And there you have it, folks. The top 5 worst medieval jobs in history, plus a bonus job that's enough to send shivers down your spine. We've journeyed through the unsavory tasks of the groom of the stool, the foul-smelling world of the tanners, the perilous job of the plague bearers, the stomach-churning work of the gong farmers, the harsh reality of the fullers, and the punishing role of the whipping boy. Indeed, the medieval era was not all knights and castles. There was also a darker, grimmer side to it that often goes unnoticed. If this peek into the past has piqued your interest, do remember to hit that subscribe button for more. It's a small gesture, but it goes a long way in supporting our channel. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay curious. I'll see you in the next video.